Hi, welcome to this new set of tutorial on learning Cisco ASA Firewall and so on. In this series, I'll be taking you through different concepts as regards Cisco ASA Firewalls. Before I commence into what we have for today, I'm going to be starting with some assumptions that you understand what the Cisco ASA Firewall does, you understand the theoretical aspect of it. You can also read up on it as well. But my main goal in this tutorial series is to walk you through hands-on experience so that you can gain hands-on experience on how to use this device. So I'm using EVE. I subscribe to your EVE platform to be able to configure my own lab environment. So you can watch as many YouTube videos out there on how you can configure your EVE, then so that you can have the same platform as I have, so that you can use that to also configure, and also you can use that to follow along with me on this tutorial. So I'm going to be achieving four things in this tutorial. We're going to be looking at how you can configure IP addresses on your firewall. We're also going to be discussing something we call security levels, which allows traffic flow between different interfaces on the Cisco ASA firewall. And then because I have my Cisco routers connected to my firewalls for demonstration purpose, I'm also going to be assigning IP address based on this topology. And then I'm going to be testing the traffic flow through the firewall. Okay, all right, so let's dive in. So this is my topology. I have four different sites connected to my ASA firewall, which is DMZ, the internal zone, my partners, and also my colocation. So I have four different networks connected to my ASA firewall. So my ASA firewall will determine how traffic will flow. So I'm going to use the concept of security levels to be able to explain those concepts as we continue in this tutorial. All right, so let me power on my security appliances. Okay, they're all powered up. And then let's begin to get our hands dirty. Okay, so my ASA firewall is powering up for the first time. So let me just take the opportunity to do the same thing for my other appliances so that I don't waste time doing that as well. Appliances up and running. Okay, so let's go back to our ASA. It's still running. Our partners, all of our appliances are also running as well. So it take a few minutes for them to be able to come up, and then we're just going to dive in straight into configuring our appliances. So I'm using a virtual ASA appliance, and then we can use that as well to configure. So I'm going to be using that to do my configurations as well. So I'm just going to wait a little bit for my ASA firewall to come up, and then I can also start doing configuration. Remember, I said that the goal of this is just for me to delve in hands-on into this tutorial. So I'm not going to be doing lots of theoretical explanation as to these devices. What they do is just to provide you with that hands-on skill, and then you can get your hands steady, and then you can commence developing your experience on these appliances. Okay, so let's start. So all of my appliances should be up and running now. Yes, they're all up and running. So the first thing I need to do is to do just basic configurations just to start. So when you power on a Cisco appliance, a Cisco ASA firewall for the first time, you don't require any password. So to move to the privilege mode from a user mode, you don't need a password. So the password is blank. So you just press enter and then you're in. So let me start by configuring the appliance, and then we can commence with the configuration that we intend to achieve today. So to do that, I'm going to move into my configuration mode, which is called T, and then I'm going to do host name. So my host name is going to be ASA. I'm just going to use ASA as my host name. Then I'm going to assign IP addresses to each of the interfaces. So I have four interfaces connected to each of the sites. I'm going to configure each of those interfaces based on the IP address on my topology. So I'm going to start with interface A, interface 0, and then I'm going to do my IP address. It's going to be the 40 network. So 40.40.40 dot 1 255.255, sorry, dot 255 dot 255 dot 0, and then I'm going to do a no shut because all interfaces are shut down by default. And then I'm going to do a name if. I'm going to name the interface. So I'm naming the interface as partners. I hope my spelling is correct. Yes, partners. Okay. And then we're going to go into, sorry, my command is wrong. Name if, and then we're going to do partners. Okay. So, so you notice that it says security level for partners set to 0 by default. Now, when you're configuring ASA Firewall makes use of a concept called security, the core security levels. So security levels, it's a traffic flow pattern. It's what the ASA Firewall uses to allow traffic between the interfaces on the appliance itself. So the number is between 0 to 100. Okay, so 0 means untrusted. Untrusted. That's what 0 is. And 100 means, let me just change the color. Let me change the color to, so 100 means trusted. Okay. So when we have a security level set to 100, it means that that interface is trusted. So by default, security level traffic is denied from a untrusted level to a trusted level. So if a security level is assigned, if an interface is assigned a security level of 0, it means it is considered as untrusted, and then the firewall will deny traffic coming from that untrusted interface to a trusted interface. Okay, so by default it is denied, but by default also from trusted to untrusted it's allowed. Okay, that traffic is allowed. It's allowed by default. So I just wanted to mention that here. Let me wipe this up, and then we continue. We go back to, because you need to understand that is very critical when it comes to understanding how traffic flows on firewall. So for this, I'm just going to assign a security level of 50. Okay, security level 50 to that interface. Okay, and then we've assigned IP address, we've done no shot, and then let's go into the next interface. Let's do interface E1, which is our internal, and then we'll do a name if internal. So it's going to assign security level 0 as well, and then with the security level 100. Okay, and then we do IP address of 30.30.30.30.1. Oh, sorry, I need to add subnet. So it actually uses the appropriate subnet mask for it as well. If we do that, then we do no short, and then let's go back to interface E2. E2 is going to be at DMZ. So we do IP address of 10.10.10.1. Okay, and then we do a no shot. Then we do a no shot, and then we do name if DMZ, and then we assign security level of 0 to it. Security level 0. So you can assign, depending on what you're trying to configure, always assign, but always remember that 0 is the lowest and 100 is the highest. So 0 is anything from 0 to anything between 0 to 100 is always considered as untrusted. So if you have 100 is always considered as trusted. So you could, depending on what you're trying to configure, but just remember the security level is what determines the traffic flow by default on the Cisco ASA Firewall. So we've configured for DMZ. So the next we need to do is for colocation interface A3, and then we do IP address of 20.20.20. Sorry, IP address 20.20.20.1, and then we do a no short. No short, and then we do a name of collocation, and then we do a security level of 50 as well. Okay, so we can do show run interface to see how the interface looks like. Okay, so I need to go back to change the IP address because it's going to give it based on the class name. That's what it's going to use to assign the subnet mask. I need to go back to do that. So let me start with interface A1, then IP address 30.30.30.1.255.255.0, interface E2 10.10.10, sorry, IP address 10.10.10.1.255.255.0, interface A3, that's 20.20.20, sorry, IP address is 20.20.20.1, and then 255.255.255.0. Okay, so to check everything now, we can do show name F. So it's going to provide us with the name we have. We can do show on IP as well. So it provides us with the IP addresses and the interface name and also the security level we have. We can also do show IP as well. So just do that as well. So you see we have the IP addresses and then we have the interfaces as well. It's coming up. So we're good with the ASA firewall. So let's move to each of the partners, to each of the routers as well. So we do T as well, and the host name partners, and then we're going to configure interface. My partner as connecting using interface 0, and then assign IP address 40.40.40.254, IP address 40.40.40.254, and then 255.255.255.0, and then we do a no shot as well to bring the interface up. The interface should be up right now. Okay, so let me just configure my telnet live VTY because I'm going to use that to also test my security level configuration as well. So I do password, password is going to be telnet, login, transport impute. So the transport impute determines that the protocol we want to allow on the line VTY. So we're going to use transport impute, or we can allow SSH, or we can allow telnet specifically. So SSH is on port 22, telnet is on port 23. But if you do hold, you can allow both of them. So you can either use telnet or SSH as the case. But for SSH, we still need to do additional configuration. But I'm not going to go into that. And then another thing we also need to do is that we also need to configure the route as well from the partners network to the ASA firewall. So to do that, I just want to configure all of them at once, so we don't spend too much time doing that. So I do IP route. So I'm going to advertise any route you don't understand. I'm creating a default route. Send it to your next hop. Okay. So I'm just going to use my IP address of my firewall, which is 40.40.40.1. So to do that, just do show IP, just to confirm, to verify that, do show IP route. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, so we have our routes connected to the desktop. Then we do and just to save, then I save my configuration. So let me do the same thing for my collocation site as well. I'm going to follow the same process. T to go into configuration mode, and then I go interface G0-0 G0 IP address is 20. It's gonna be 20.20.20.254. And my subnet mask 255.255.255.0. And then I'm gonna do a no shot just to ensure that the interface comes up. Interface should be up. Okay, so let me just configure my telnet line VTY015. Password is telnet. Login, and then I'm gonna do my transport input, my transport input to all as well. Transport input. Okay, and then I'm gonna do my routing, IP route 0.0.0, 0.0.0, sorry, and then it's gonna be 20.20.1. So do show IP route just to verify that my default route configured. Yeah, that's good. So I do WL just to save my configuration. Oh, I didn't change my host name, so I need to do host name to collocation. Okay, and then at the end, then save again. So we go with collocation, then we go to internal. So first thing, configure my host name to internal. This name is going to be internal. And then I do interface 0/1. No, interface 0/1. Yes, and then I do my IP address. That's the 30 network, 30.30.30.254. And then we do 255.255.255.0. Okay, and then I do short. Okay, so I need to configure my line VTY 015, password telnet, login, and then do your transport input. Okay, and then we do routing default route 0.0.0, 0.0.0. We configure this to 30.30 because I'm going to be pointing to my next stop, which is my firewall. 30.1. Okay, and then we do end, and then save as well. Okay, that's fine, and then let's go for my DMC. Do the same thing as well. T host name. Host name is DMC. Interface G/0. IP address is 10.10.10. 10.10.10.254. Subnet max 255.255.0, and then we do a no shot. Then we do a no shot, and then we configure the interface should be up right now. So I do my line VTY as well. 15, sorry, line VTY 15, and then we do password. It's going to be telnet. Then we do login, and then we do a transport import. Okay, and then we configure a route as well, default route. So IP route 0.0.0. So it's going to point me to my next op, which is 10.10.10.1, 10.10.10.1. Okay. So we can do show IP, do show IP route just to verify my route. And yeah, we're good to go on that. So the next thing we need to do is to test our security level. Remember I said that for security level, from a lower security level to a higher security level is going to be denied by default. So let's telnet to our internal network from outside. Telnet is going to be 30.30.30. 30.30.30.254. 254. Definitely shouldn't be successful because the security level, as I mentioned, is that traffic is always denied by default from a lower security level to a higher security level by default. So let's test the one with a higher security level to a lower security level. Okay. So this is my partners. So let me do internal. So internal has 100 security levels. I'm going to test from 100 to DMZ, because DMZ is a lower security level. From higher to lower security level is allowed by default. So let me test that. Telnet 10.10.10.254. Let's see if that works. Okay, so it was successful. So telnet. So we can see that traffic from a higher security level is allowed to reach a lower security level by default. So another thing to also ask is, so can a security level from the same, can devices communicate with each other with the same security level? So meaning that my partners that has a security level of 50, can they communicate with my colocation that has a security level of 50 as well? Would they be able to communicate? So let's test it out. By default, it's no, it will not be allowed. But let's test it. So for partners, they both share the same security level. So let's do telnet to 20.20.20.254. Let's see if that works. So it definitely won't work because that traffic is also denied by default. So how do we get this to work from a firewall perspective, between communication between the same security level? So for that to work, we have to use a command called same security level. It's a global command on the ASA firewall that allows communication between the same security level. So to do that, we just do same security level. Same, supposed to be hyphen level traffic. So we do permit. So there are two ways. It's always interface. So let me just do a question mark for you to see the two options. So for intra, there's two options. We have inter and intra. So inter means that exactly what we're trying to configure, two different interfaces having the same security level. That's where the inter interface comes in. But if you're terminating multiple pairs on the same interface on the ASA firewall, then you want them to communicate. You want intercommunication between the pairs to intercommunicate with each other. Then you have to use the intra interface. So we're not going to go into that. We're just going to stay with the scope, which is interface. That's what we want to do. Because I said it's a global command, you don't need to apply to the interface. So let's go back to partners and then let's test it again. Let's see if the same security level will be able to communicate. So let's go back to telnet 254 and we should be able to communicate. Let's give it some seconds. Remote host not responding. Okay, let me check my colocation. Let me see. Is there anything that looks strange? IP interface brief. Okay, my interface is up. Show section 9. We have alternatives up as well. Let's do a name if here just to verify. Show name if location is 50, partners is 50. Okay, so let's go back. Let me do from partners, let me do show IP route as okay 40 location as well. Show IP route, see everything looks good. Okay, everything looks good, so let me try it again. So from partners to collocation is 20 telnet 20.20.20.254 should work. Okay, what's going on with two same interfaces? Let me see what I configured here. Yes, so this should work. Let me try it again. Same security made interface. Okay, so this should so from partners. Okay, let me try from internal. Let me try from the collocation to partners. Let's see if that would work. Telnet 40.40.40.254. Okay, something is remote host not responding. Show IP out. Show IP interface with. Okay, everything looks good at the interface level. Show IP route. Okay, everything looks good. That okay, let me check the ASA firewall. Let me see. Okay, show interface IP brief. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. It's the IP that's the problem. T interface zero IP address 40.40.40.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, so let's go back and do the testing. I think it should work. Telnet 40 telnet is 20.20.20.20.254. Yeah, it should work now. Yes. So it was because of the wrong IP address that we configured there. Okay, so now that we see that that has worked, so how do we now check for the DMZ as well? How do we validate if a security level 0 can be allowed to communicate with a lower security level can be allowed to communicate with a higher security level? To do that, we need to configure an ACL, which is access control list on the ASA firewall. So I'm not going to dive into explaining. I'm just going to configure it straight. So I'm going to do access list DMZ to internal. Okay, extended permits. I'm just going to do host. I'm going to permit the host only. Permit IP host 10.10.10 the 254 to IP host to host, sorry, to host 30.30.30.254 as well. 30.30. Sorry, 30. 30.30.30. The 254. Okay, and then when you configure an access, you need to apply it to the interface. So I'm applying it on the interface. I'm going to apply it on the interface on the firewall. So to do that, I'm going to use a command called access group. So I'm going to reference my access control list, DMC internal. Okay, and then it's an inbound traffic because the traffic is coming from outside. It's going to be inbound interface DMZ. Okay, and then we should be good to go. So let's do show. We can do show access list just to see the access list, and then show. I can do show one access group as well, just to show the access group we have configured. And then, so let's go back to test from DMZ to internal. Okay. So let's do mode and do a telnet to 30.30.30.254. Then we should be good to go. Yep. So that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for viewing this long. We've looked at 4 different areas. We looked at how to apply an IP address on an interface on the firewall. We also discussed security levels. Remember, I said security level as well allow traffic flow on the firewall by default without configuring an access control list. So what that means is that by default, traffic is allowed is denied from a lower security level to a higher security level, and then traffic is allowed from a higher security level to a lower security level by default. And if there's the need for for communication between the same security level, then you have to use the same security level command permit interface command, global command on the ASA firewall, and that will allow communication between the same security level. Okay, thank you very much, and then I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.